One of the great quotes talking about technology that I heard recently on one of your podcasts, it was actually one statement made by Josh. He said, "We are connecting but not relating." Mm-hmm. To elaborate, we are connecting with our thumbs but not with our tongues. So that was very powerful to me, because it's like, I see that everywhere, and I have been that guy to pull my phone out, and consciously I can know that probably shouldn't have happened, right? Because I have somebody in front of me. So unpack that. How can we, aside from like the thoughts of coming back to the present or setting do not disturb, unpack that for us. We're communicating with our thumbs, but not with our tongues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think during this time we're all kind of experiencing the effects of that, because I've heard so many people realize just what has been lost as we've been unable to some extent to gather with friends or people in person. There's something about being made in God's image, which is to be made with real needs and relational needs, and we're also made physical, and we need to be in the presence of other people. So when we're just texting or connecting through technology, there's such a disconnect, because we can't see people's facial expressions, read their body language. We're just reading what they're saying. We don't know their tone. Mm-hmm. And that really limits the ability to feel connected and understood, and like we're understanding other people. So that would be one of the things, is there being such a emphasis in the younger generation of, I could text somebody or I could call them. It doesn't really make a difference. Or I could FaceTime them, or I could meet up with them in person. But why not just text them? All of those lead to way different levels of feeling connected and understood and whatnot. And again, in person, you feel so much more understood and connected, just because of how God designed us and whatnot. So that would be one of the things. And then I think what Josh was getting at also in that point is, like I said earlier, loneliness is caused by this lack of meaningful connection, not just connection. And so many of us think to be connected is to just get together with somebody and to do something, play a sport or go get a meal, and not really talk about anything meaningful. Right. But there's something that happens when we get into the nitty-gritty of our lives, and we fulfill the 7 longings in one another, and ask them things that help them feel understood and known, and ask their opinions on things, or ask how they're really doing, like what's going on inside of you, what are you feeling, what's been hard. When we connect in that way, something that's interesting is our brain releases oxytocin and dopamine, and that causes us to feel bonded and connected to somebody else. But if we're kind of blocked off and we're not really talking about anything important, and we're not really laughing, and it's just kind of like sending a text, we don't get that same feeling of meaningful connection. So by asking people questions about their life, what's going on, how they're doing, how they're feeling, what are they worried about, what's God doing in their life, and then just laughing together and asking about their opinions and thoughts about things, that causes a much greater sense of connection, and that I'm not alone in the world, and that somebody gets me. And that's what God wants to experience. God wants us to experience in relationships.
Right. Absolutely. It's easy to say, how's it going? I think that's our catch-all phrase in the States is, hey, what's up? How's it going? How's life? But we don't really mean it. So for somebody to actually say, hey, Ben, how are you feeling today? Even if it kind of takes you back, it's that opportunity to see somebody else actually caring. And the more times that we can do that, and we can encourage others to do that, I think that really brings value to the table whenever we talk about meaningful connections and building lasting relationships. especially for coworkers in the office, right? We see them every day. There's a balance of doing life together and working together, but obviously if we can encourage and foster that environment, the meaningful connections will naturally take place.
Yeah, exactly. So crucial.